So, sa lecture number 6, learning activity sheet number 2 for week 2. Is solving problems involving factors of polynomials. So, yung objective natin ngayon is to solve problems involving factors of polynomials. So, meron tayong area of the square equals s squared, where s is the side, and area of a rectangle, which is equal to the product of the length and the width. So, itong dalawang to gagamitin natin mamaya sa pag-solve ng problems. The given example natin. So, let's start with this first problem. A carpenter has a square plywood whose area is x squared plus 16x plus 64m squared. What is the measure of the side of the plywood? So, para po makapag-solve ng isang problem, unang-unang gagawin is to understand the problem itself. Okay, so ang ating problem is about the measure of the side of the plywood. And then second, after you understand the problem, you have to identify what are the given. So, ang ating shape ng plywood ay square. At ang area ng square ng plywood na ito ay yung x squared plus 16x plus 64 in square meters. And then, yung hinahanap po natin ay yung sukat ng bawat side ng plywood. So, how to solve this kind of problem? So, kung ito yung plywood natin at ang shape niya ay square, ibig sabihin, bawat side ay pare-parehas ang sukat. Hahanapin natin ang bawat sukat. So, gagamit tayo ng formula ng area ng square, which is side squared. At given kanina ang area ng square na to. So, ang area ng plywood natin ay x squared plus 16x plus 64. Ito ay naka-square meters. So, hahanapin natin yung side. So, x squared plus 16x plus 64, kung mapapansin ninyo, by the lecture of perfect square trinomial, we can easily find the measure of the side. First is, we need to get the square root of the first and the last term of this trinomial, since it is already a perfect square. So, we have square root of x squared and square root of 64. So, meron kang x plus 8. So, the square of the binomial x plus 8. Now, to get the side, since meron tayong s squared, we have to get the square root of the both sides. So, ang square root ng s squared, okay, is s. And the square root of the binomial of the square of the binomial x plus 8 ay x plus 8. Ibig sabihin na nawala yung exponent or yung square ng binomial since in-square root natin siya. So therefore, ang side or yung sukat ng side ng ating plywood ay x plus 8 meters. So again, ginamit natin ang lesson ng perfect square trinomial to solve this kind of problem. Second problem. Sam wanted to find the dimensions of a basketball court whose area is 100b squared minus 144n to the fourth meter squared. What are the dimensions? Okay. So, in this problem, ang ating tinatanong ay yung dimension ng ating basketball court. So, ang area ng basketball court ay 100b squared minus 144n to the fourth in square meters. So, paano natin to isa-solve? Since ang shape ng ating basketball court ay rectangle, so meron kang length and width, at given ka ng area ng ating basketball court, which is 100p squared minus 144n to the fourth. At kung mapapansin ninyo na itong expression na to ay isang example ng difference of two squares. So we need to apply how to factor expressions using difference of two squares. First is you have to get the square root of 100b squared and the square root of 144n to the fourth. So we can express it as the products of the binomial 10b plus 12n squared and the binomial 10b minus 12n squared. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung dimensions na hinahanap. Or we can write it as the binomial 10b minus 12n squared times the binomial 10b plus 12n squared. So, you have to put the unit of measurement of n. Since ang unit of measurement na ginamit ay meters. Yan. So, the length is 10b plus 12n squared meters and the width is 10b minus 12n squared meters. Next problem. The area of a square is numerically equal to 50 times its perimeter. Find the length of the side of the square. Kung mapapansin niyo, it is different from the two examples given already, no? So in this case, we have to understand further the problem and then we have to rewrite the phrases into mathematical expressions. So we have to read it again. The area of a square is numerically equal to 50 times its perimeter. So we are about to use the area of a square and the perimeter of the square to find the length of the side of the square. So since square has 4 equal sides, we can use the area of a square, which is s squared, and the perimeter, which is 4s. So step 1. We have to choose a variable to represent what is unknown. Since ang unknown natin ay side of a square, we can use letter S to represent the side or the length of the side of the square. Step 2, we have to translate what we are seeing in the words into mathematical expressions. So note that the area of a square with side S is A equals S squared. Yan po yung area. And its perimeter is 4S. So, base dun sa problem kanina, yung area ng square ay numerically equal sa perimeter. So, we can write it as S squared equals 50 times the perimeter. Ito po ay galing sa ating first sentence or first statement doon sa ating problem. So, nire-write lang natin yung phrases or yung statement na yun into mathematical expressions. So, again, ang mathematical expressions natin ay s squared equals 50 times 4s. Third steps, we have to simplify the expression and solve for the unknown. So, ito po yung magiging ating solutions. So, s squared is equal to 50 times 4s. Okay, ito po. So what is 50 times 4s? That is 200s. Then by addition property of equality, on each side we can add, okay, I'll choose red na lang. We can add on the left side as plus, okay, lagyan natin plus negative 200s. Okay, ulitin natin. Ayusin natin. Erase. Sulat natin dito sa baba. Yellow. So, okay, I'm gonna use pen. So, s squared. Magdadagdag tayo ng negative 200s. So, gumamit tayo ng addition property of equality, no? Since this is equation. Then, on the right side, I'll be adding again. This is 200s. Okay, ang hirap i-control. So, 200s plus, kung ano yung dinagdag mo sa left, ganun din sa right. So, this is negative 200s too. Okay, this is 200s. Now, in simplifying, okay, 200s plus negative 200s is 0. And this one, you have to simplify plus then negative. So, meron kang s squared minus 200s. Okay? Now, kung mapapansin ninyo, s squared minus 200s by the lecture number 1 using common monomial factor. Ang common monomial factor ng s squared minus 200s ay s. This one. And the second factor is s minus 200. Okay. So, getting the root of these equations, so yung s ay equal siya sa 0, at yung isa ay s minus 200, itong second factor, is equal to 0 by zero product property. Now, para i-simplify yung s minus 200, we can use the additive inverse property. Kaya ang magiging sagot ay s is equal to 200. Ano yung 200 na yan? Yan po yung sukat ng length ng ating square. Since 0 could not be the length of the square. Okay? So, the length of the side of the square is 200 units. Why is it units? Bakit hindi meters or centimeters? Kasi po, way back to the problem, wala naman pong binanggit na unit of measurement. So, kung walang binanggit na unit of measurements, we can use units to represent the measurement. Okay? So, that is the first problem. Next problem. Okay, it is about age problem. So, Ali is 2 years older than his sister Mel. If the product of their ages is 1 less than 5 times the sum of their ages, how old are Ali and Mel? So, this is a kind of age problem. We have to understand well what is being asked. So, ang tinatanong rito ay yung edad ni Ali and Mel. Since Ali is 2 years older than his sister, and then if we are about to get the product of their ages, it must be 1 less than 5 times the sum of their ages. So, paano natin siya isa-solve? First step, we have to represent the unknown, a variable. Okay? So, in this case, ang ginamit nating variable ay x. So, let x be the age of Mel and x plus 2 be the age of Ali. Why is it x plus 2? Going back to the problem, ang sabi niya, si Ali daw is 2 years older than his sister. Okay, so kaya siya meron siyang plus 2. Second step is to translate what you are seeing in words into mathematical expressions. Since nabanggit doon sa problem ang yung product ng kanilang ages, so yung age ni Mel at age ni Ali, we can write it as the product of x times x plus 2. Third, another translations, ang sabi din doon sa problem, since yung product ng age nila ay equal daw sa, ito, 1 less than 5 times the sum of their ages. So, ito yung product ng kanilang age, at ito po yung translation ng phrase na to, 1 less than 5 times the sum of their ages. So, itong nasa loob na to, yan yung sum ng kanilang age. So, we can now proceed to step number 3. Simplify the expression and solve for the unknown. So, in this case, yung ating left side, isosolve din natin at the same time yung right side. So, this is the left. Left side will be, must be equal to the right side. Okay? So, ito, by distributive property, x multiplied to x is x squared. Ito siya. Then, x multiplied to 2 is 2x. Okay? So, standby itong left side. Now, to our right side, we have to simplify first. So, I'm gonna use another color. Let's say, light blue. This, nasa loob ng parenthesis, yung sum. So, ang sum ng x plus 2 ay ito, 2x plus 2. Pagsamahin yung mga similar terms. And then, next thing to do is to distribute 5 by multiplication. Okay, so I'll be using another color na lang, no? Okay, we have dark blue. So, 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 2 is 10. And then, bring down minus 1. Then, simplify again the similar terms. So, meron ka ditong 10 minus 1. So, meron kang 9. So, ito yung new expression natin or equation. Meron ka sa left side na x squared plus 2x. On the right side is 10x plus 9. So, ngayon, how come na naging x squared plus 2x minus 10x minus 9? We use the addition property of equation. So, magiging ganito po yung new equation natin. Okay? Or on other terms, pwede natin gamitin yung salitang tinranspose yung right side. Okay? Kanina, di ba, yung left equals sa right. Yung equation or yung expression na nasa right ay tinranspose sa left. Kaya po naging negative 10x, minus 10x minus 9. Then, isi-simplify natin yung similar terms. Ang similar terms natin ay 2x minus 10x. So, magkakaroon ka ng negative 8x. Now, from here, yung new expression natin, which is x squared minus 8x minus 9, by using the lesson number 5, which is factoring general trinomials with a equals to 1. So, ang factors na ating gagamitin ay x minus 9 at x plus 1. By zero product property, we can write it as x minus 9 equals to 0 and x plus 1 equals to 0. So, in other words, x is equal to 9. This one, x is equal to 9, and on the other part, x is equal to negative 2, negative 1 rather. So, wala naman pong edad na negative, so this negative 1 is not the answer. Therefore, our age, or Mel's age, is 9 years old. While Ali's age, who is 2 years older than Mel, we can add 2. So, therefore, the age of Ali is 11 years old. Okay, hope you learned something today.